Hi and welcome back to ETV Power Women. We're here with the lovely Lilamani Benson, who's just been telling us some very interesting stories about her children and the advantages actually of being a career woman as well as a mum.
Yes, strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely to hear actually.
Yes.
You know, it kind of puts things in a different perspective. You kind of get a different perspective on things. But I wanted to ask you actually, Lilamani, what's it like? What's a typical day like for you? I mean, is it just completely go, 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 go? I mean, do you have, what's a sort of typical day in the office like?
Well, now that I've come to a stage with my business where I'm grooming a team to actually handle the day-to-day management of the agency. Yeah. I have groomed a team and they are in place. I don't feel I have to do go, go, go. You know? Yeah. I don't have to get into the little small tasks that that fritter away your time. I can do the bigger things like training sessions. I still sit on review boards looking at the creative product so that I guide the strategy and the thinking for the brand, because the brand, our clients' brands are the most precious things we have, and those are what we are growing and nurturing. And so I get involved in those sessions, and so it is more quality input, if you like, than just looking at all of the yes. However, I also do a lot of cuddling of the kids, and I can be steel magnolia. I can say hard things with a cuddle. One needs to, and I think I'm the one who does it because I can get away with it, and it needs to be done sometimes. Yeah, when you just have to. So, so it's not. So a typical day is that I will go into the office at about 9:30 or 10 o'clock. Yeah. And I will stay for as long as it's valid, to stay. If there are a lot of reviews going on, I will stay. If there is something happening which I need to contribute to. But funnily enough, I still go back to the simple craft of writing an ad. And of actually going on writing a TV commercial and going on the shoot. I just finished making a TV commercial for a brand that I have worked on from its inception. Oh my goodness! Wow. And I think the client was delighted to feel that you were still, and I'm probably the only head of agency who goes on shoots. I don't know of any others. But they don't, because they're almost like too important, too big to do that. But I still write the occasional ad, and I certainly write the occasional film, and then I will go through it right from the beginning. I'll sit in all of the pre-productions, and I will go on the shoot, which can mean a 4 or 5 day outstation shoot, and just to make sure that which is very tiring physically. But then you're watching it happen. You're able to craft the shots and be involved in every aspect of it. And then I go and get involved in the post-production and all of the music development and editing and everything. Those times can be quite frenetic and can be quite demanding. But that's but those are not very frequent. So it's more the being a director and deciding on policy and where we are going in a larger sense, and then being involved in the review boards, which I think is important for quality. And then I come home and I do have some time to myself sometimes, which is nice. Which is nice. For your art and your painting. Yes. Do you still write poetry as well? I am going to do that. That's a promise I've made to myself. Wonderful. I am going to start writing poetry, get published properly maybe, and paint again, and perhaps go take on that creative. You have to have a studio, and you have to be able to leave it like that and go away and come back to it and just spend days painting sometimes. As you know, I'm looking for a studio. I know. So I haven't got to that stage as yet, but I'm hoping I will. Sure. I still spend a lot of my time when I'm in the country, in the office. But productive time doing the things I'm good at instead of jumping into everything that other people to do. Wonderful. And I've actually wanted to ask you a little bit about your husband, because I know that you sort of met while you were working. Yes. So well, when I was at JWT, and I was running the agency, my husband was with the head of marketing of our lead client. Okay, wonderful. And it happened that we were both single at that time in our lives. And at a certain point, of course, I used to work with him very closely, because it was a very important account, and I used to get very involved in it. And a relationship developed. And of course, there was conflict of interest, kind of.
Because,
So you could not tell anybody.
So it was this
you
very
could not
secret.
tell the world. And I used to say at the end of the day, when work was over, you know, 6:30 maybe, and by that time, my colleagues used to see me, if they peeked into my room, they used to see me push back chair, feet on something, and on the phone, you know. And this ripple went round the agency, she's got a man. Big buzz, buzz. And apparently they put down all the names of the possible men. And they were trying to figure out now which one is this guy, right? You know, I don't think they got very far, but they might have had 3 names there. And Terry Benson's name was there, apparently, but was cut off. No, can't be. Not her type, said somebody. But so my husband, you know, if I'm a dreamer, he's a realist. You know? If I'm a poet, he's a economist, if you like. You know.
Also a nice sort of balance.
But we also share a lot of interests. We share art, love of art and architecture and music and travel and cheese and wine and all
the good things.
Yes, all of the gorgeous things. Although he might prefer opera and I might prefer theatre. But still, you know, we go to each other's things. So at a certain time, of course, we were able to tell us individual companies, this is what's happening, going on, and at which point I resigned my job.
Oh, you did? Wow, okay.
I did. And then we married, and then I took a sabbatical. And it was then that Lintas Worldwide, I said, I was headhunted and I was approached and asked to go back and set up. And then my husband, by that time, a few years passed. By that time, my husband did retire from Unilever, which was the client, of course, he was with. And we set up the company together, and he is the chairman of OLDB, which is what it is called now. I'm not sure, I think I strayed away from your original question.
But I mean, what a fascinating, I was just completely sort of enthralled by you know, how you met, and how lovely. And of course you talked about travel, which I understand is something that you love to do.
Yes. Well, I have now also the freedom to be able to travel. Because I'm not managing the agency on an everyday, day-to-day basis. I'm able to leave a young gang and nice young people to run it and go away for 2 or 3 weeks, even a month sometimes, which is very nice. And anyway, our families are all overseas.
That's right.
If we never got to see them, that would be terrible, isn't it? So we have the wonderful luxury of being able to these 4 obstreperous little kids have now all grown up.
And where in the world are they? I mean,
they are all in the US, fortunately, in one country, but in different locations.
Yeah, well, it might as well be in different countries because the US is so large.
Yes, you're right.
But oh, how lovely. So, I mean, what's one of your favorite places to kind of escape to?
You mean here, or when we're on
the
here
and overseas, when you travel as well?
Well, I'll tell you about some of the places I have been to which are absolutely special in my mind. The first is the Taj Mahal in moonlight. I mean, it's a cliche, of course.
But it's just, when you see it.
Don't believe that it's a cliche. You've got to go in, and they don't let you go in the moonlight anymore. The first time I visited the Taj, it was in the moonlight, so I was able to actually get in there and wander around with this incredible light.
Because now by 6 o'clock you're out. You're out.
The second time, we also went on a moonlit day, on a moonlight night, full moon night. And because we couldn't get in, we went round behind the Taj and walked on the bed of the river, which was
goodness,
dry.
Wow.
Yes. And this silhouette of the Taj kind of looms, and the atmosphere is so awesome.
Must be just magical.
It's just one of those experiences. And of course, the next morning we went and we sat around in the Taj, in the grounds from 5 in the morning till 5 in the night, and it changed from ember in the morning to brilliant white at noonday. And then softly the shadows and the streaks of light came on in the afternoon. So the Taj in the moonlight is magic. And then another wonderful memory is the Alhambra in Spain. And we were trying to get into it, and we, of course, we knew these were the times, opening times, closing times. So we went in the evening, the day we landed in that city, in that town. What are the times? And we found that they actually let you in. And you went in there with all these beautiful, stunning spotlights, and nobody.
It was completely deserted.
Oh, except for 2 or 3 others who had also wandered in like us. And with so the Alhambra, and you can actually no barricades. You can go to the places which are normally barricaded because they don't. So special that they don't want the tiles to be trod on too much. So we just wandered around in the Alhambra, which has to be one of the most beautiful buildings in the world again.
Wow.
We have a common interest in architecture and beautiful buildings. So the Alhambra without the crowds, if you like. Another was the Abu Simbel in Egypt from the air.
Oh, okay.
We flew in there from the Nile cruise, and you just see it from up there, and it's just one of those sights. Yet another was we did a trip to Alaska.
Okay.
And there is
because that's a very sort of unusual place. That
the Glacier Bay on the 5th or the 6th day of the cruise. This gigantic boat, which has 3,000 people on it, the cruise boat, sails into Glacier Bay.
Right. Okay.
And this gigantic ship, if you take that picture from the air, is like a little Halmesa.
Okay.
Right?
Tiny little,
tiny little thing in comparison
to the glaciers.
Place, and it's all these different glaciers. So you can see the scale.
The
scale of this place that you have sailed into. It is just one of those, I mean, today people use the word awesome very loosely, but it's absolutely
awesome.
Yeah. And then very recently, on a recent trip to the Mediterranean, we went to Barcelona and discovered the Sagrada Familia by Antoni Gaudi.
Gaudi. Everywhere you go, it's just Gaudi, and
that was so incredible. And it was made more special because my own familia was there. My kids came, three of my four came from different parts of the world to meet us in Barcelona. And we were able to take them all, grandchildren included, and everybody stand in awe of it.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we're going to take another little break, but when we do come back, we've got something for you. We like to call it the confession cam, but what it is we've spoken to some of your friends and colleagues, and they've given us a little more insight into you as a person. So yeah, we've got that after the break. So don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we've got more from Lilamani Benson, and we've also got the confession cam. So we'll see you after the break. Hi, you're watching ETV Power Woman, and we're here with the charismatic Lilamani Benson, and we've got a little surprise for her, the confession cam. So what your friends and family had to say about you. So we're just going to take a quick look at that.
Lilamani, what really stands out is her professionalism. Because she approaches any particular job of communication development very professionally, starting from strategy to the idea and then to the execution. And she's always very consumer focused. What is the job? What is the job for the consumer? And that's the way she approaches the job, and always focuses on using the local idiom. So she's very good at that, and no doubt those are the things that have really enabled her to make good advertising. Of course, needless to say, she's very passionate about what she does, about her agency as well as any brand that she handles. She's a very passionate person. This also leads her to be a very tough taskmaster, because she's so engrossed in what she does. She wants it to be perfect. So she looks at being, she's almost a perfectionist. So it ends up being, she becomes a very tough taskmaster in doing that. However, she's a very playful character, I would say, and she's a fun-loving person, and she has a very good, very pleasing personality, and very easy to work with. And I've enjoyed working with her during my time at Unilever, and of course the last 10 years especially, since she established Lindas.
She's a very elegant lady. She's a very creative person, which everybody knows. But it's a creativity that she carries to, I think, every thing she applies herself to. I've had the honor of working with her on some, public service projects, and it's been wonderful, working with her. One learns so much in the professionalism she brings to everything she does, and in the creative way in which she approaches it. I think she has an incredible ability to tell a story about whatever it is that she's trying to communicate, and that creative ability in her has been very helpful to all the service projects that we have done with her. So that's what I know of Lilamani, the public persona. On a more personal level, I think the one thing that really struck me about her was, she's a public figure, so one knows that she's there, and she's been working in the field for so long, and she's reached a height in her profession. What struck me was that, when I met her, she was just like one of my peers, and I really didn't realize the generation gap between us till much later, much after getting to know her. I learned about her family, and I realized that there was indeed a generational gap, but that's not there in her mind. She's very current, she's very, you don't feel that with her. So that's something very personal that struck me about her, that you can relate to her like you would to a friend. She's a very intense person. I guess that comes from her creativity. So she doesn't suffer fools gladly. It's either you get it with her or you don't. There's no middle path.
So spot on with that.
That was amazing.
It's lovely, isn't it? To just kind of...
it is very heartwarming and very special, And thank you for doing that. I was really warmed by that.
And it was, it was lovely to see what they had to say for you, both as a professional as well as, your personal
And it's a bit surprising also, because there are some things you don't realize. Some things they articulate which you always knew, but there's someone saying it,
And then it hits you.
And yes, and then there are a lot of things you don't realize that,
But
good. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting that, they both remarked on the fact that, very professional and very much a perfectionist, which I think is something that is very, you need to be to get...
It's hard to work with a perfectionist. My kids discover that to their detriment sometimes.
Oh dear. Well,
but I think it pays off because it's important. It's
absolutely.
Important.
I think it's necessary too. We're going to have to take another break. Okay. But when we come back, we've got something that we like to call the dreaded 10, which are not really that dreaded. It's just a quick question-answer session where I'm going to ask you questions and you have to tell me the first thing that pops into your head. But we're going to do that after the break. So don't go anywhere, because after the break we have the dreaded 10. I'm going to shoot questions at Lilamani, and she's got half a second to answer them all.
Yeah, it's scary.
It's fun, it'll be fun. So we'll see you after the break. Hi, and welcome back to ETV Power Women. We've got Lilamani Benson with us today, and we've been having quite a fascinating conversation actually throughout, which I've really enjoyed. And it's
been wonderful talking to you.
Thank you. It's now time for the dreaded 10.
Oh my goodness.
The dreaded 10. Yeah. So just first answer that comes into your head is what you need to give me. So we'll start off with one that's not so dreaded. What's your favorite color?
Shocking pink.
Okay, wow. That was unexpected.
Peacock blue. Yes.
What's your least favorite color?
Grey, I think.
Yeah. Just. What's your greatest regret?
That I didn't learn to play a musical instrument. Because I think that's so enduring if you are able to play, not to perform or anything, but just for yourself.
Yeah. Okay. If a movie were made of your life, who would play the lead role?
Oh Lord, one of those kids in my office was always imitating me, I guess. I come upon them every now and again.
Really? What's your greatest extravagance?
Travel, I would think, is possibly my greatest extravagance, because or when I give of myself, or when I give to the ones I love, I spare nothing. I give till it hurts.
Okay.
I hope one considers that an extravagance. I don't know if it is.
I think it is. I think that definitely.
I'm a very giving person.
Wonderful.
I like to think I am. Others have to judge that. I can't say that really.
What's your idea of perfection?
When you have given everything you've got and done something to the maximum ability, and you're holding nothing back, that has got to be, the best you can be.
That's a good answer. That's a very good answer. Which living person do you most admire?
Barack Obama, as of this moment.
He's awesome, incredible, isn't he?
Yeah. Incredible.
He really is.
Extraordinary, to use one of his own words.
What's your most marked characteristic?
That I'm demanding.
Okay.
Of myself first, and then of everyone else.
What makes you lose track of time?
If one of my grandchildren sat in front of me, I would totally lose track of time.
Yeah.
I don't see them often enough.
Okay.
And when I see them, it's enchanting.
If you were able to die and come back as a person or a thing, what or who would it be?
Oh, my alter ego, I guess. Oh, who would I be? Who or what would I be? That's a tough question, Minori.
We left the worst one for last.
Okay.
That's it. That's the dreaded 10.
Okay.
Which, not so dreaded, but we like to.
I'm sorry,
we like to
answer that last one.
That's okay.
Now, but,
we'll.
Anyway, that's a very difficult one. I think.
It is, isn't it? Actually, it's the first time I think I've actually seen that, and it's tough. But one sort of final question, actually, Lilamani, that I wanted to ask you is, what would you consider the most special moment in your life, really?
Well, strangely, it's not going to be. And I've had a good life professionally, but it's not going to be anything professional.
Right.
I think it's more self-fulfillment.
Okay.
When you look upon the face of a newborn child, or your newborn child, and you see this perfect little individual, who is supposed to be part of you, but is not part of you because he or she's got his own individuality.
Yeah.
I think those moments are absolutely magical.
Yeah.
That's your immortality.
Right.
And I've had 4 such moments
in your life.
So I've been really blessed,
I
think, to have had those.
Oh, wonderful. And before I go, I must mention that the dreaded 10 was sponsored by Pond's Age Miracle. Right. So we have them to sort of blame for the questions.
Right. Okay.
Well, sadly, we've got to say goodbye, and thank you again, Lilamani, for being here with us.
My pleasure, indeed.
Thank you very much. Just to remind you at home that you can catch more of ETV Power Women next week. But in the meantime, if you'd like to catch up with other news about ETV Power Women, don't forget to log on to our website. It's etvpowerwomen.blogspot.com. Lots of fantastic features on it, so check it out. Well, we will be back next week with another guest. So don't forget to tune in to ETV Power Women. And until then, goodbye.